أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويل لكل همزة لمزة الذي جمع مالا وعدده يحسب أن ماله أخلده كلا لينبذن في الحطمة وما أدراك ما الحطمة نار الله الموقدة التي تطلع على الأفئدة إنها عليهم مؤصدة في عمد ممددة. Surah Al-Humaza, Surah number 104. Overall, a very negative tone in this surah. Pretty much everything is actually in this surah, which is negative. And the message is very strong. And again, something that we all need to be paying attention to. Let's start with the first surah, first ayah, inshallah. Wailul likulli humada, humadatil lumada. Wailun, even though it is indefinite, coming at the beginning of a sentence, this will be mubtada. Likulli, li and kulli, harfu jar, ism majroor. Together, we will say this is shibhu jumla fi mahalli raf'in khabar. Okay. Kulli is mudaf. So humazatin is mudaf ilayhi. And lumazatin is na'at li humazatin. Wailun, something that we have seen in Surah Ma'un as well. It has no verbal root. Meaning is woe, distress, affliction, destruction. Okay. Typically would come with harfu jar li, as we can see here, wailul likulli. Okay. So woe to kulli. Okay. Kull is very common. I think it comes, if I'm not mistaken, more than 300 times in the Quran. The interesting thing about kull is that it always comes as mudaf. Okay? So the noun after that will be mudaf ilayhi. But you may have noticed that there are times, even in the Quran, that it comes and there is a tanween at the end of it, and there is no noun which is coming after it which you can uh, uh, identify as a mudaf ilayhi. So if there is a tanween, that tanween is for compensation of the omitted mudaf ilayhi. Okay, so sometimes the mudaf ilayhi is kind of understood. So instead of writing the mudaf ilayhi, just the tanween will be given. So it will become kullun. And that tanween does not make kull as if it's not mudaf. It's still mudaf, but the tanween is there to represent the mudaf ilayhi. Okay. One good example is toward the end of Surah Al-Baqarah, kullun amana billahi. Yeah. So the kullun in that case actually is to be expanded as kulluhum, all of them, all of them. Okay. So that, but you don't see kulluhum, you see kullun with a tanween at the end. Okay. So, but it comes as mudaf. And the other interesting thing is that if it is followed by a definite, its meaning becomes all of or whole of, okay, or entire of. But when it is followed by an indefinite, then it means every. Okay, I mean, we see quite often in the Quran, we see kulla shay'in, everything. Okay? Shay'in is indefinite, so we will translate kulla as every. Okay, also kullu nafsin, every soul. Okay, and then wherever it is followed by a definite noun, then the meaning of kul will be all of or whole of or entire of, and then of whatever that noun following is will be used after that of. So here it is wailun likulli. The noun after that is indefinite humazatin. So here it will be translated as every. To every. Okay. Humazatin and lumazatin. We will look at them together. There are a lot of notes about the meanings of these two words. And unfortunately, there seems to be basically no consensus whatsoever about the meanings of these words. I was actually going crazy looking at the dictionaries, trying to understand or establish some pattern on what they are saying. And eventually, I did capture something here. But then you see that whatever you found in one dictionary, the other dictionary gives the exact opposite meanings of these two. Whatever the first dictionary said about homaza, the second dictionary says the same thing about lomaza, and it says about lomaza what the first about homaza what the first dictionary said about lomaza. And then I came across one other book where they said about these two words that there is no consensus. Even the Arabs have a big difference in terms of how they understand these words. But there is a general kind of, you can say, group of meanings, and there are subtle differences in them, but there are still those differences, and there doesn't seem to be any agreement on those subtle differences. So let's just go into it, see what those meanings are. So hamaza yahmizu or yahmuzu hamzan. The literal meaning is to squeeze in the hand, to bite, to poke, to prick. Okay, also to backbite, to set people against one another. Okay, now this is and then humazatun is actually something which is we did not cover this in Medina books, but this is a topic that Dr. Abdurrahim actually has taught in his subsequent lectures. So if somebody is interested, I can send them a link for this. These are called the As-Sifatul Mushabbahatu Bismil Fa'il. Okay. The simple translation in English is quasi-active participle. Okay. So it is an active participle, but it is a quasi-active participle. Okay. And it's a much longer debate than what's the difference between active participle versus quasi-active participle. I won't go into that. But the shortest explanation I can give is, and this is by the way, by no stretch of the imagination enough explanation, but this is just simple way to understand this concept that this quasi-active participle essentially is something which is intrinsic quality of that of that entity. Okay, as opposed to something that somebody does. Okay? Like jalis, for example, is not an intrinsic quality of somebody. It's, I mean, nobody is a sitter. Okay, you sit when you distinctly do the action of sitting, then you become jalis. Okay, versus tahir. Okay, it means somebody who's pure internally, okay, from the inside. Then that can be an intrinsic quality of somebody. So you don't just all of a sudden become tahir and then become impure again. So just a simple explanation. And there are different patterns, different awzan, which are there for these quasi-active participle. One of them is fu'alatun. Fu'alatun. And one of the things that is particular about this pattern is that it indicates a habit. It is something that is kind of done not one-off, but repeatedly. Something that is just somebody is in a habit of doing this thing. And the other important thing is that this ta that you see at the end of it, it actually signifies the intensity of the action, not the feminine gender. Okay, it is not that it is only for the feminine that this is, but it is actually a common gender word, homazatin and lumazatin. And the ta marbuta at the end shows the intensity, not the gender. Okay, and what are the meanings? The one who blames, reproaches, finds fault with others, backbites, and he does it basically a lot and or habitually, does it all the time. Okay. Then the other word we have is lamaza yalmezu or yalmuzu lamzan. Um, Now its meaning has to give someone a wink, okay, to speak ill of someone, to find fault with someone, to backbite, to slander. So again, you can see very similar looking meanings. And then so lomazatun, very basically same version. For alatun, it is also quasi-active participle. Um, has very similar meaning. The one who blames, reproaches, finds fault with others, much or habitually, on their face or behind them. That's kind of one difference that I saw. And then I've tried to capture this. So there are several differences between homaza and lomaza. For example, homaza signifies finding faults behind someone's back, while lomaza means criticizing someone in his or her face. Also, lomaza means using eyes, face, and head signals. For example, a sarcastic smile or rolling of the eyes, along with the secretive words to criticize someone, while the homaza means bad words or evil words for criticism. Okay, so homaza is more in terms of speech, while lomaza includes other gestures as well as speech to criticize someone. And again, going back, um, uh, in the same dictionary, you would find these two, these meanings completely reversed from them as well. Okay, and another dictionary basically explained it that there doesn't seem to be a consensus in the meanings of these two words, where Arabs have used a group of Arabs have used homaza for certain meaning, and the other group has used lomaza for exactly for the same meanings. Okay, so they have completely swapped them. But the overall, the use of homaza and lomaza together essentially is pointing to somebody who is in the habit of slandering, backbiting, and using all means of doing that. Okay, that can be the rolling of the eyes or sarcastic comments or sarcastic smile or other facial features or movements, as well as the words. Okay, all of that together are but by bringing them together, it basically bringing all of those meanings together, saying all anybody who does those, woe to everyone who does that. Okay. And this is what basically happens after seeing all these paragraphs of explanation of these meanings. When you're writing the translation, you end up with shorter words. So the common ones that I've seen are basically backbiting, slanderer. But when you have to understand it beyond just these two words, given the description that we have given here. Also, feel free to look at the dictionary, especially you'll find a lot of description about this in Lane's lexicon, which has given quite a bit of space for these words. Okay. Any question on this before I move on? Okay, we'll move on, inshallah. Ayah number 2, Alladhi jama'a malam wa addada. Alladhi is, there are two options given. One is it's a badal. Okay. Badal li kul, which is in the previous sentence. Aw, or it is khabar li mubtada mahzoof taqdiruhu huwa. Okay. So in that case, you will have to understand this as وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ هُوَ الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَ. Okay. Either way, it doesn't really change any meaning because still we're talking about the same individual on whom the whale is being sent. Okay. So alladhi, of course, we know is ismul mawsul. So what follows that will be silatul mawsul. So jama'a is fail madi, mabni ala fatha, fa'il mustatir, taqdiruhu huwa, and that huwa is also the a'id that goes back to alladhi. Malan is ma'fulun bihi, okay, for lil fail jama'a, wa addada, wa addada hu, 3 parts. So harf atf, addada, just write it correctly. Addada is fail madi, mabni ala fatha, fa'il mustatir, taqdiruhu huwa, same goes to the same huwa that goes to allazi, and who is ma'fulun bihi. Okay, and then of course addada is ma'tufun ala jama'a. Okay, let's look at the meanings. Allazi, the one who jama'a malum wa addada. Okay, jama'a yajma'u jam'an. Okay, ba fataha, to gather, to collect, also means to unite, to combine parts of something into a whole, to assemble something. Also means to congregate. Form 4 is ajma'a yujma'u ijma'an. Okay, to resolve or decide an affair on which there were differences, okay, on which there were known differences, so as to settle it firmly. Okay, that's why we use the word ijma. That scholars ka is baat pe ijma hai. They are basically, they have resolved or made a decision on something that had differences before. Form 8 is ijtama'a yajtami'u ijtima'an. Okay, means to be collected, to be gathered. Okay, ijtima' is being collected. Jami' is ismul fa'il, one who assembles, gathers. And then jami'a, okay, we saw that a lot in the Medina books. Over there, it was used in the with the meaning of university. It does have other meanings also: league, union, communion, or association. Majma'un, on the version of maf'alun, is ismul makan, place of gathering. And then, of course, al-jum'ah, the day of gathering, or as we know, the day of the week of Friday is called Jum'ah because that's when we gather. Okay. Now, in this case, because the context, you can say gathers, okay, or amasses. Malan, okay. Mal we know is wealth, property, money, possessions. Gathers wealth and addada, adda, which is mudaf verb, ya'uddu addan, means to count. Form 2 is addada yu'addidu ta'didan. The meaning is to count repeatedly, to enumerate, to count off. Okay. Also has the meaning of to make numerous, to multiply, to compound. Some of the other words from this root are adad, okay, means number, plural being adad. Ma'dud, which is on the version of maf'ul, is ismul maf'ul, the thing which is counted, okay, or whatever is counted or computed or determined. Okay. So here the addada is form 2. Form 2, and it has the kind of that intensity or repetition in it. Okay. And counts it repeatedly. Okay, counts it repeatedly. I mean, as if it's his heart is in the wealth. Okay, he's amassing it and he keeps counting it, because he basically is essentially has become a slave of his wealth. Okay, that finishes ayah number 2. Any question before I move on? Okay, we'll go to ayah number 3. يحسب أن ماله أخلده. يحسب is فعل مضارع مرفوع فاعل مستتر تقديره هو. أن is حرف تأكيد والنصب. ماله mala and who, 2 parts. Mala is ismu anna, and وهو مضاف, and who is مضاف إليه. And then أخلده, أخلد is فعل ماضي مبني على فتحة فاعل مستتر تقديره هو. And this huwa actually goes to mal. This, and we will, once we look at the meaning, it'll make sense, inshallah. This huwa goes to mal, not to the person, but goes to the mal. And this who, which is a mafulun bihi, goes to that person, goes to that person. Okay. So we still haven't figured out the khabar anna. So in this case, the khabar anna is actually this jumla failure. Jumla failure fi mahalli raf'in khabar anna. Okay. While we are at it, just a quick recap. If you remember, we learned a rule that the usage of, or the difference in usage of inna versus anna. Inna comes either at the beginning of a sentence or with the fail qala, or any of the conjugations of qala. All other places, meaning if it is coming in the middle of a sentence with any other verb other than qala, then we will have anna. Okay, and that's what we are seeing here. The verb that we're dealing here is yahsabu. So instead of saying yahsabu inna, you say yahsabu anna. Okay. Let's look at the meaning, inshallah. So yahsabu is a very commonly used verb in the Quran. It has multiple meanings, actually. There are 2 groups of meanings. Okay. First group is hasiba yahsabu, also yahsibu. Hasiba yahsabu and yahsibu, with at least 3 different masdar: hisbanan, mahsabatan, and mahsibatan. Means to consider, to think, to believe, to suppose. Okay. And now one interesting thing here is that if you remember when we were studying the different babs of the Sulasi Mujarrad, one of the bab was actually named after this, which was bab hasiba, because hasiba yahsibu. The ayn kalama has a kasra in the madi and kasra in the mudari. But notice that this verb actually has 2 spellings for fi'l mudari: hasiba yahsabu and yahsibu. Okay, so it is interesting that the fail which was given the leadership of that bab itself has a different spelling as well. So in that, and with that spelling, it actually falls into the bab sami'a. Just a point to note here. The other spelling for this fail is hasaba yahsubu, and the masdar are hasban, hisaban, hisbanan, as well as husbanan. And in this case, it means to compute, to calculate, to reckon. Okay. Form 3 is also interesting for this. Hasaba yuhasibu, muhasabatan, and hisaban. to call to account, to call to account. The next page. And then form 8, ihtasaba yahtasibu ihtisaban, to take into account, to take into consideration, to reckon, to expect. Of course, the word hisab is very commonly used. Yawmul hisab is something that we see that in the Quran coming repeatedly. Hisab itself is a very frequently occurring word in the Quran, meaning accounting, judgment. Hasb, with the sukoon on seen, means to be sufficient. Okay, so when we say hasbunallahu, then we are saying Allah is sufficient for us. Allah is sufficient for us. Allah in this case is lafz jalala, fa'il, and na is ma'fulun bihi. Okay, so the fa'il in hasb is the one who is sufficient. Okay? Allah is sufficient for us. So anyway, so yahsabu in this particular ayah has a meaning of to think. Okay, yahsabu, he thinks, anna, that, malahu, his wealth, akhladahu, his wealth, akhladahu. Okay, what does the meaning of akhlada? Okay, we have it right here. Sulasi mujarrad is khalada yakludu khuludan. It's an intransitive verb to mean to be immortal, to live forever. Okay. Form 2 is khallada yukhallidu takhlidan. Khallada yukhallidu takhlidan. To make eternal, everlasting. Okay. Form 4 is what we have in this ayah is akhlada yukhlidu ikhladan. Again, a similar meaning to form 2, to cause to be immortal, to cause to remain forever. The word Khalid on the version of fa'il is the ismul fa'il, everlasting, eternal, perpetual, one who does not die, one living or remaining forever. Okay. And then mukhallad is the ismul maf'ul for the bab taf'il, khallada, forever youthful, okay, always of the same age, also the one who is adorned with bracelets and earrings. Okay, with the harf jar ila, it has the meaning of to be inclined or to tend to. But just wanted to bring that because that mukhallad is also used in the Quran. So akhlada once again, form 4, to cause to be immortal, to make someone immortal, to make someone live forever. Okay, so here the translation will be, he thinks that his wealth, akhladahu, okay, will make him immortal, meaning he has so much wealth that he can basically get anything and will not face the consequences, will not die. Okay. Another slightly different take that I have seen, some translators take on this one is that he thinks that his wealth itself will remain forever. Okay. That he will be able to keep his wealth forever. Okay. Both of those interpretations exist. Okay. He thinks that his wealth will make him immortal, or he thinks that his wealth will remain forever. Okay. So we are going to move to the next ayah number 4. Kalla la yumbazanna fil hutama. Kalla is the first time that we are seeing it since we started the analysis. This is harfu rad'in wa zajrin, okay, which is basically a particle of rebuke and repulsion. Okay. Rad'in is to rebuke something, and zajrin is to repulse something. And we'll look at the meaning, inshallah, shortly. La yumbazanna fil hutama. So as you can see from the construction, la yumbazanna, whenever you have a lam followed by fi'l mudare, and then a noon saqila, then that construction is only possible in a jawabul qasam, jawabul qasam, which means that there is a qasam here, but that qasam is omitted. Okay? But this construction gives us the hint that there is a qasam. So there is a three part. There is a lam, and then there is a yumbaza, and the last part is noon saqila. Okay? So the lam is allamu waqiyatu fi. Actually, you know what? I just I think we write it slightly differently. Actually, we say different. Allamu talaqi al-qasam. Okay. Actually, talaqi al-jawab al-qasam. Mahzuf. Okay. So qasam itself is mahzuf. And this lam is part of the jawab al-qasam. Yumbazan, the yumbaza is fi'l mudare. And now fi'l mudare, when it is attached to noon saqila, it actually becomes mabni. Okay, it is mabni. Mabni alal fath. Okay, we're talking about this fatha here. And it is also mabni lil majhul. It's a passive voice verb. Okay, and then the noon is noon saqila للتوكيد, for emphasis. Okay. Fil hotama fi zarf jar. Hotama is ism majroor. Okay. And if you look at the meanings, starting with kalla, okay, so the translation typically is not at all, with a exclamation mark at the end, by no means, certainly not, never, okay, also on the contrary. So here, the typical translations that I have seen are not at all, okay, meaning it is negating what was just mentioned before, which was what? Yahsabu anna malahu akhlada. Okay? So that thought that he has is being nullified with this kalla saying not at all. La yumbazanna fil hotama. Okay? So yumbazanna, the verb is nabaza yanbizu nabzan, bab zaraba, to hurl, to fling, to toss. Okay? And a related verb in this family, which is also in the Quran, is in tabaza yantabizu intibazan. This is in Surah Maryam. To withdraw, to retire, okay, to retreat. Okay, this verb was used when she withdrew herself from her family before the angel who came to give her the bashara of of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. Anyway, in this particular case, for the verse that we are currently analyzing, the verb is Sulasi Mujarrad, Nabaza Janbezu, and then it's the Mabni lil Majhul on the version of Yuf'alu, Yumbad. And because it is connected with the Noon Saqila, it is Mabni on the Fatha. Okay. If it was Marfu, it would have been Yumbadu. So here it is Yumbada. So passive voice, he will be flung, he will be hurled into, he will be thrown into. Okay. He will be thrown, okay, fi, into or in, hotama. Okay. So the hotama, the verb is, the root is hatama, yahtimu, hatman. Okay. Bab daraba again. And to me means to break into small pieces or to crush something. Okay. The hotama is on a version of fu'ala. Okay. Again, same version as humaza and lomaza. So this hotama is also in the same version. And this is also quasi-active participle, a sifatul mushabbaha bismil fa'il, the one who does it as a habit, as continuously, regularly. Okay. So the verb with the meaning of to break into small pieces or to crush, hotama basically means something which continuously is crushing, okay, or the one who eats and is never satisfied. Okay, and it is also an epithet of hellfire, meaning it is actually an adjective which it's a name which describes a one of the qualities of hellfire. In this case, the hellfire as devouring whatever goes into it. Okay, may Allah protect us from that. So the simplest translation for hotama is the crusher. Okay? The crusher. Okay. So kalla la yumbazanna fil hotama. So the key word is la yumbazanna is he will be thrown into the hotama, which is the crusher. Now again, what we need to take away from this is the fact that this is part of this is a jawabul qasam. Okay? So there is a lot of emphasis here. It is not a casual statement. Okay, this is it should be completely obvious to anybody who understands this construction that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually making a qasam and then making this statement. So this is a jawabul qasam, meaning this is definitely going to happen, and this is not something that somebody should be doubtful about whether this will happen or not. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually saying it clearly that this is certainly going to happen. Okay. Okay. Brother Abdul Hamid, please go ahead.
Brother, this jawab this lamutalaki fi jawab qasam mahzuf. So what is the mahzuf qasam?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So this is a statement that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The qasam can be on anything. Okay? Typically, you will not find the taqdeer for the qasam because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being the creator of everything, he can take the qasam on any of his creation. Okay. And where he does take the qasam, like for example, in the case of Surat-al-Asr, what he's taking the qasam on, or what is called the muqsim bih, is evident, it's clear. But in other places where it is not given, it can really be anything. And you normally don't find the estimation for what the qasam is taken on, but rather the emphasis is on the statement, the jawab al-qasam, which is essentially the main message that is being conveyed here. Brother Nisar, please go ahead.
Brother Zahid, I think Brother Asif mentioned one time in his class that quoted Dr. Abdul Rahim that basically when Lamutalaki wal Qasam Fi'l Madariya or Nun Sakila comes in, basically Mazub Qasam is Uqsuma bi Izzati wa Jalalati. So
true, but that's again that is a I mean, that is just an estimation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying it is that, I mean, Allah is taking the qasam on his own jalal and his own izzah.
Right.
But if you look at the Arab dictionaries, And again, maybe I have not read them extensively, but I haven't come across a kind of a consistent, or sometimes even any taqdeer for the qasam in such cases. They just say lamutulaqi al qasam and lamutulaqi jawab al qasam, and the qasam itself is mazuf.
Jazakallah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So far, so woe to every backbiting slanderer, the one who gathers or amasses wealth and counts it repeatedly. He thinks that his wealth will make him immortal. And then Allah negates it by saying, Kalla la yumbazanna fil hutama. Not at all. He will be thrown into the crusher. And then, very interesting construction. Again, we are seeing it for the first time. Ayah number 5. Wama adraka mal hutama. Very interesting construction. Let's first analyze it. Waw is isti'nafiya. A fresh start. Ma is ismul istifham. Istifham. This mabni, of course, coming here as mubtada. It's a jumla ismiya. Adraka. So adra and ka. Adra here is fi'l madi. Mabni ala fatat al-muqaddara. Okay. And fa'il is mustatir. Taqdiruhu huwa. And ka is maf'ulun bihi number 1. Okay. There are lots of maf'ulun bihi here actually. So let's start counting them. Maf'ulun bihi number 1. And then mal hutama. This ma is once again ismu istifham. And this is actually beginning of a new sentence. It's an inner sentence. And this is also mubtada. And then al-hutama is a khabar for this ma. Okay. And this inner sentence, mal hutama, this jumla, which is the jumla ismiya. Okay. This is standing for, so we have our favorite sadad musaddad, maf'ulay, maf'ulay, الثاني والثالث. So maf'ul bihi number 2 and maf'ul bihi number 3 for the same verb adra. Okay, so this is actually a verb. Once we look at the meaning, you will see it requires 3 maf'ulun bihi. Okay, and we found the first one which is attached to it. It's the mir muttasil ka, which is attached to it. But the second and third are actually being represented by the jumla mal hutama for to represent the 2 maf'ulun bihi for adra. So if you look at the meanings of these, wama, okay, what, adra, okay, adra comes from dara yadri dirayatan. This is actually the thulasi mujarrad. This is the root. Daraja means to know, also has the meaning of to be away. Okay? The common phrase that's quite often used is ma adri, I don't know. Okay, if somebody says you aina suq, where is the market? And if you don't know, you say ma adri, I don't know. Okay, so this is that verb dara yadri. The form 4 of it, form 4 for this is adra yudri, idra'an. Okay. And if you look at the meaning, to make someone know something or someone is something or someone. So how many maf'ul bihi? 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Once again, make someone one, something or someone as something or someone. To make someone know something is something. So 3 maf'ul bihi are required for this verb. And that is where, if we look at those 3 maf'ul bihi, the first one is the ka, okay, this ka, and the second and third are this verbal, sorry, this nominal sentence. They represent the second and third maf'ulun bihi. Okay. So wama adra, what, okay, will make you can say know or realize, make you know or realize what the crusher is. Okay. What will make you realize what the crusher is? Okay. We see this construction, by the way, in other places as well. So it's good to kind of understand it. It will be very same analysis in other places as well. Well, Saeed, please go ahead.
Yes, adraka is also khabar to ma.
Jazakallah khair for the reminder. Yes. We should have captured it. So the mubtada, first mubtada for the outer sentence, wama adraka, this jumla fi'liya, fi mahalli raf'an khabar. Okay. For the ma, which is at the beginning of the ayah. Jazakallah khair, Brother Saeed. Any question for ayah number 5? Wama adraka mal hutama. Okay. So again, this I was connecting back to the previous ayah where it says, Kalla la yumbazanna fil hutama. Okay. And then now we are being kind of, our attention is being brought to what is hutama? What is hutama? And the next ayah will answer that. Ayah number 6. Narullahi al-muqada. Okay. Nar here is actually khabar. Okay. Li mubtada mahzuf. Taqdiruhu here. Okay. So basically, imagine that there is a here at the beginning of this. So it is hiya narullahil muqada. Okay. And that here is basically the mubtada. Nar is khabar and it's huwa mudaf, and Allahi is lafzu jalala coming here as mudaf ilayhi. And then al muqada is naat li nar. Actually, naat, just one second. Naat al awwal li nar. Okay, there's more naat coming afterwards, inshallah. Now, nar, we have seen it before actually. Noon, waw, ra are the root letters. Nawwara, yunawwiru, tanviran. This is the form 2. To light, to illuminate, to fill with light. Form 4 is anara, yuniru, inaran. Okay. And munir is the ismul fa'il from this. And the word nar, with a feminine, which is a feminine by convention, and its plural is niran, has the meaning of fire. And nur, which is also from the same root, plural being anwar, means light, brightness or guidance. Okay. So here, nar is the fire. Of course, the here, if you translate it, will be it is the fire of Allah al-muqada, okay, which is the naat. Al-muqada comes from waqada yaqidu wuqudan, bab nasara, sorry, bab daraba. Waqada yaqidu, this is a misal fi'l. Waw is dropped in fi'l mudari. Means to take fire or to burn. Okay. And then form 4 is awqada yuqidu iqadan. This is a transitive verb, means to kindle a fire or to ignite the fire. And then form 10 is istawqada yastawqidu istiqadan, okay, to seek, to kindle. Okay. The word waqud is the act of burning, also means fuel, which is used in the Quran as well. And then muqada, which is a noun that we are looking at in this ayah. Muqada is ismul maf'ul lil fi'l awqada. This is the form 4 ismul maf'ul, something which is kindled. Okay, something which is kindled. Okay, kindled or fueled. So it is the fire of Allah which is kindled or fueled. Okay, meaning it has been ignited and it has been given enough fuel that it is going to basically burn. And then, so actually, before I go, any question on this? Said, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to mention that nar has also Salasi Mujarrad, Nara Yanuru Nauran.
Okay. And what is the meaning for that?
The meaning is same thing like Roshan, light.
No, but what is the, like, when we talk about the verb, it has to be there has to be action in it. So what is the meaning to light, to illuminate?
Roshan Hona.
Okay. To be illuminated.
Right.
Okay.
Nara
Okay.
Yanuru Nauran.
I guess the Hanswehr dictionary, which I was looking at, did not mention that Sulasi Mujarrad in it. I'll check it again, inshallah. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Next we have is ayah number 7. Allati tattali'u 'alal af'ida. Allati is, this is now naat number 2. Naat number 2. Of course, allati we also know is ismul mawsul. Maybe I should have mentioned it. Ismul mawsul. So it will require a silatul mawsul, which is coming after tattali'u. Tattali'u is fi'l mudari, marfu, wa alamatu raf'ihi ad-damma. Fa'il mustatir taqdiruhu hiya. And this here is the a'id that goes back to allati. Ala is harfu jar and af'ida is ism majroor. Ism majroor. And of course, this is silatul mawsul. Silatul mawsul la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Let's look at the meanings. Allati, okay, which. Again, remember we are dealing with nar, which is feminine, singular, definite, and marfu. So allati, allati of course itself is mabni, but in this case we will say is fi mahalli raf and naat, and all the other factors it actually matches with nar, which tattali'u. Okay. The Sulasi Mujarrad is tala'a yatlu'u tulu'an. Okay. To rise, to ascend. And then form 3 is tala'a, yutali'u, there is a typo here, I should fix it. Mutala'atan should be mutala'atan. I think I missed the ayn in there. Mutala'atan, form 3. Two sets of meanings actually. One is to read, to study, and another set of meaning is to appear, to show up, or to emerge. Okay, to appear, to show up, or to emerge. Form 4 is atla'a, yutli'u, itla'an, to inform someone, to notify. I think we use in Urdu as well, itla' dena. Form 8 is ittala'a, yattali'u, ittila'an. Okay. To come to know, to gain knowledge. And then with the harfu jar ala, its meaning comes to come to look at. Okay, this is used in this verb comes in with the harfu jar ala in Surat-al-Kahf, to come to look at, to come upon. Okay. Okay. So here, so tattali'u is actually form 8. Okay. So the meaning here is going to be with the harfu jar ala is going to be to come upon. Okay. The which comes upon al-af'ida. Okay. Fa'ada, yaf'adu, fa'adan. Bab fataha. So the Thulasi Mujarrad meaning is to hit someone in the heart. Okay. But we're dealing with the noun af'ida, which is actually a plural. Its singular is fu'adun. Okay. Both plural and singular both are used in the Quran, and the meaning is actually heart. But one of the dictionary actually explained it that this is different from the word qalb, because af'ida actually, or fu'ad, it signifies the ability or faculty of thinking and emotions, and not the heart as an organ. Okay, remember the meaning of qalb is that something which is overturning. Okay, and that if you look at the heart as an organ, that is what it is doing actually constantly. Okay, so the word qalb basically means or has one of the meaning as the organ heart, but fu'ad and the plural being af'ida does mean heart, but the ability of thinking, emotions, and not the organ itself. Okay. So tattali'u alal af'ida, which comes upon the hearts. Okay, meaning it is kindled, and it is so scary that when people would look at it, it would basically instill this extreme fear in their heart, the emotion of fear and complete devastation in their hearts. Again, heart as being again, it's not the physical organ, but rather the heart, which refers to their ability to think and have emotions. Okay, so that was the second naat for nar. First one being kindled, and second one being that it is going to come upon their hearts, or rise upon their heart. Maybe that's another one that we can actually capture here. Comes or rises upon the hearts. Any question? Okay, we'll continue inshallah. Innaha alayhim mu'sada. Okay. So inna waha, so harfu tawkidin wa nasbin. Ha is damir muttasil fi mahalli nasbin ismu inna. Alayhim jar wa majroor. Mu'sada is khabar inna marfu'un. Khabar inna marfu'un. Look at the meanings. Indeed, it. Now this ha again goes back to nar, feminine, nar, and then feminine pronoun which points to it. Alayhim, okay, upon them. Upon them. Mu'sada comes from wasada yasidu, again another misal verb. Wasdan being the masdar, bab daraba. To be firm, to stand firmly. Okay. And form 4 is ausada yusidu isadan. Okay. Again, we should get the hint that the mu'sada is actually has a mu with a dhamma on meme, which tells us it is not sulasi mujarrad, it must be sulasi mazid. In this case, it is from form 4. Ausada yusidu isadan. To close, to shut, to block someone's way. Okay. And then musada is ismul maf'ul. Ismul maf'ul. Okay. Means something which is closed. Something which is closed. Innaha alayhim musada. Indeed, it is upon them closed. Closed. Another translation that I've seen is or closed down. The fire will basically will be upon them and completely surround them, and basically they will be closed in the fire. There's something that I described in this surah, and I think it requires a little bit more clarification, or I would say actually some more information. This is specifically around this hamza that I have highlighted in Mu'sada. Last time when we discussed this, when we talked about the root word for this, we said it's a ismul maf'ul from a form 4, bab if'al, for the verb which we wrote as ausada. Au sada you sedu. Okay. And then masdar being isadan, which basically makes the root as wasada yasidu. I believe wasdan is the masdar for that. Okay. So waw, sod, and dal are the root. What kind of triggered the thought was that how come in the ismul maf'ul we have mu'sada with a hamza, because the ismul maf'ul from ausada would be on the version of maf'ul mu sada tun. So in this case, the fa kalama is a wow, not a hamza. Okay. So then I started looking in some dictionaries and found that actually they say that there is another verb. So this ausada can also be basically asada, okay, which is basically another way of writing asada you sedu. Okay, masdar will be the same, isadan. and that makes the root as hamza, sod, and dal. Okay. And the dictionary says that there is basically I mean, both verbs are there. There's a dialectal difference in pronunciation of the hamza as a pure vowel actually. And the meaning of sada yusidu versus sada yusidu isadan is the same, which is to close down, to shut down. And the ismul maf'ul from this is going to be with the hamza musadatun, which is essentially what we find over here. Okay, so in my so I've updated my notes, okay, for this. So I am listing the verb asada with the hamza sod dal as the root, yusidu isadan, meaning to close, to shut, to cover over, same meanings. And gives the explanation that I just mentioned here, that it basically overlaps with ausada, which has the same meaning, but the first radical is waw instead of hamza. Okay. This is due to a dialectal variation of pronouncing hamza as pure vowel, and the ismul maf'ul then becomes musadatun, which is with the hamza as a fa kalima. And it'll be written as musadatun with just a waw if the underlying verb is taken as ausada with no change in the meaning. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, because when I uploaded, this is the version of the note which I will upload, inshallah. Okay. We move on to the last ayah. Fi amadim mumaddada. Fi is harfu jar. Amadin is ism majroor. And then together, this is shibhu jumla fi mahalli raf'in khabar muqaddam. Khabar came first. Okay. Actually, I made a mistake. I need to correct it. Shibhu jumla. Actually, that part was correct. I shouldn't have said khabar muqaddam. It is fi mahalli raf'in khabar thanin li inna. So this khabar inna was khabar al-awwal, and this is the second khabar for inna. It's not a new sentence, it's part of the previous sentence actually. Fi amadin mumaddada, which is majroor actually. So this is actually not li amadin. Not li amadin. The meaning in amad. Amad comes from amada ya'midu amdan, means to support or to prop. Bab daraba. Amadun is a collective noun meaning columns, pillars, or lofty structures. And then imad has a similar meaning, also means lofty buildings supported by columns. Okay. Imad is also used in the Quran. So amadun is columns or pillars. So in columns, it's a collective noun, so plural. In columns, mumaddada, Sulasi Mujarrad is madda yamuddu maddan. Okay. Bab nasara, to extend. Okay. To extend, to stretch, also has a meaning of to help, as we say madad, support, supply, reinforce, to grant a respite. Form 2 is maddada yumaddidu tamdidan. Okay. And same meaning as madda, but with more intensity and frequency. Okay. The more stretched or extended structures, something which is more extended or stretched, also more intense form of help or more frequent help. And then mumaddada, on the wazn of mufa'ala, the feminine form of it, this is the ism maf'ul, something which is stretched out or extended or elongated. So here, mumaddada basically means extended. Innaha alayhim mu'sada, indeed upon them, indeed it is upon them closed down, meaning the fire. Fi amadim mumaddada, and it is in extended columns. Okay, it is basically coming in as extended columns around them. More or greatly extended columns of fire around them, which is closing them down.